Is it okay if I try to share my screen just for?
Maybe wait 1 second, please, just in case. Yep, we're live. You can share your screen probably pretty quickly because I don't think people will jump
Just
on
for a second.
immediately. Okay.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, what I wanted to do is just the sound. I'm sorry.
I could hear it because I knew that piece. There's like
You could hear it?
Yeah, you can do it again if you want to see.
I couldn't hear it. Wow. Okay. Great. Great. Thank you.
All right, Trudy, we should mute ourselves.
I'm still not seeing it on Facebook feed.
Did you try the videos tab?
Yeah, maybe I have to refresh.
I see it, and if you go to the bottom, it's in all videos.
Okay.
I can already see some audience members as well.
I'm still not seeing it on Facebook feed.
Cute picture of you. Oh, maybe I'll send it tomorrow. That's your phone.
Is everybody out there? All right. Okay, John, could you help me with the standing by sign? Yeah, just hold on a second. Did this last time. It's a little bit awkward. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us on this third night of Isolating Together, Great Small Works Online International Toy Theater Festival, Part 3. Our Great Small Works company includes Trudy Cohen and Jenny Romaine and Roberto Rossi, Mark Sussman, Stephen Kaplin, and John Bell, and our good friend Lindsay Wagner, making things happening, as we seek ways to isolate together, to hold on to creative impulses, and touch each other virtually. We also want to take a few moments to acknowledge the hardships, the fear, and the losses which our friends and neighbors are experiencing. We wish you all good health and good cheer. And now, here is Great Small Works member, Jenny Romaine.
Well, hello. dumplings, flowers, the rest of us. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is, well, in my world, we say Yenij Inamor, but here in New York, they call me Jenny Romaine, but I'm actually the spirit of Toy Theater Future. And I'm really thrilled to be here tonight because I have seen the future, and it's made of paper and it's small. But really what I want to say is we toy theater performers, makers, world builders, in the future, we're really fascinated by this moment in your history when toy theater practitioners, with their capacity to world invent, took the bull of Wall Street by the horns and made a complete societal transformation. So when we look back at this moment of the total and successful May Day rent strike in New York, for example, or the passing of the People's Bailout, where everybody, whether they were documented or not, got stimulus and recovery support. And then of course there was the PPE that came rolling in from the federal government, and the OSHA protections for all of the healthcare workers. And then of course all the essential workers and the post office workers were strengthened and renewed in their good work, and everyone was released from the prisons. And, you know, it just must have been a heck of a time in this country. So, but what was really cool when we learned about it is that we learned that at the center of it were a bunch of toy theater practitioners who had this capacity to understand that you could imagine a world. And so they did it. And so we in the future ended up with all this, you know, the Green New Deal stuff, and we all adapted, and there was a huge crisis, but then there was a giant transformation. So I just like to say it's so cool to be here. And I understand you guys are super stressed out, but I bring good news from the future. And you want to hear the ditty that came through? This is what's really interesting. It was a song about toy theater that the great world inventors would sing amongst themselves. And I learned it, and I'll sing it to you. I probably sing a very old-fashioned version of it, but I'll sing it, and perhaps we can all sing it together. I'd be so honored. I'm honored to be in your presence. So it goes like this. It's got an arch. Now, you know, an arch really is more like this. Well, actually, you'll figure that out for yourself. It's got an arch, like a proscenium arch, that invention of the Renaissance. It's miniature. We know the compressed power of the miniature, and it's flat. Miniature and flat. Let's do that again. It's got an arch. It's miniature and flat. Miniature and flat. It's got an arch. It's miniature. It's flat. And it's made by you. Arch, miniature, and flat. You got that. Let's do it together. Arch, miniature, and flat. Miniature and flat. What? Arch, miniature and flat, miniature and flat, arch, miniature, flat and made by you. Hey, arch, miniature and flat. That is that. So thank you, people of this time and place, for making the transformation that we all really needed. And now, on with the show. Mwah!
Wow, thanks, Jenny. That was really awesome. And as we know, tomorrow is May 1st, May Day, day of big strikes and celebration of the workers who need celebrating definitely right now. Our first performance, which is a pre-recorded performance, some performances tonight will be live, and some performances will be magnificently pre-recorded, like this one by Liz Downing from Lurch and Holler Music in Baltimore, Maryland. The title of this piece, which Liz created in isolation in April 2020, is "Oh, Little Cabin in My Soul, I Am Thief and I Am Guard."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow is right. Oh, little cabin in my soul, I am thief and I am guard. Thanks, Liz Downing. I'm going to think about that in my dreams tonight. The next performer is a Great Small Works member, Stephen Kaplin, who lives in the epicenter of the COVID-19 pandemic in the United States, Queens, New York, the great borough. Stephen Kaplin, Great Small Works, and Kuang-Yu Fong will present Toy Theater of the Carved Eraser #2, conceived, designed, and directed by Stephen Kaplin, performed by Kuang-Yu Fong, ni hao, and Stephen Kaplin. The stage was built by John Bell, but he doesn't remember doing so. All images in this production were appropriated without the consent of the original artists, but were lovingly carved on Mars Stedler grand erasers and certifiably hand-stamped by Stephen Kaplin. Toy Theater of the Carved Eraser #2.
Hello, 你好. I'm Punky Poo, the brainchild of a young Taiwanese girl who spent a lot of her childhood watching American TV and fall in love with Lucille Ball. I love Lucy. Mwah, 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 mwah. But I also love Chinese opera. So it is my honor to introduce a teeny tiny piece of the great country classic, The Peony Pavilion. Take it away, Mei Lan Fang. So beautiful. And now, to help you understand what you just saw, we present the great German theater director and playwright, Bertolt Brecht.
Danke, Fräulein Pooh. My principle of alienation effect that you have seen here in the Chinese opera is also found in primitive European theatrical displays, such as toy theater, as is clear from the fact that I, a two-dimensional graphic image of the world-famous German playwright, should not be confused with the actual Bertolt Brecht. And furthermore, that images... Wait, I'm not done. The image is being transmitted, but I'm not done.
Too much information. As my idol Lucy used to say...
Hello, kitties. Yes, it's Bernie Silver. I just came down from Puppet Heaven to tell my friends on Earth that I approve wholeheartedly of this Toy Theater Festival. Thanks so much, guys. You rock!
Wow, that was awesome. Bertolt Brecht and Bernice Silver and Meilon Fong and Kuang-Yu Fong all in one place, rocking it out. I appreciate that a whole lot. I've been trying to work on those Beijing opera hand gestures, but so far I've only got this one. Pointed finger. The next performance is from New York City and Illinois, Coalfather Industries. The piece is entitled Brilliant Virus, in which an unhinged leader convinces his followers that a virus does not exist, but is also brilliant. Brilliant Virus, Coalfather Industries.
The germ has gotten so brilliant.
In the year 2020, at the end of the disinformation era, a great pandemic swept through the zip codes. The pandemic was the result of a brilliant virus. The leader of the zip codes possessed vast business concerns and was guided only by himself. The leader spent a great deal of time hoaxing and leaking and declaring conspiracies that the pandemic was a war, or was spilled from a lab, or was nothing more than a cold. The leader claimed he was a medical professional who understood pandemics when, clearly, the leader could not actually read. The leader's followers believed the virus was a hoax and did nothing, allowing the plague to spread quickly. Each day, while not performing his job, the leader demanded that people praise him while recognizing his genius, but also maybe sequester themselves in their own homes, just in case. And so the brilliant virus reshaped the zip codes, demanding much of some and nothing from others. The leader assured the people that the plague could be cured by drinking household cleaners and absorbing radiation. Medical professionals worked exhaustively to save the zip codes, while the leader made jokes, ate fried foods, and stole protective equipment for himself. Many in the zip codes suffered greatly. The leader credited himself for delivering small sums of money to the zip codes, and his supporters cheered. But while the zip codes got very little, the leader stole huge sums for himself and his corrupt friends. The fortunate zip codes worked from home and watched Netflix and complained, while hoarding paper products. The less fortunate zip codes suffered and contracted the plague while delivering consumer products to fortunate zip codes. The leader tweeted and spilled at the mouth and demanded praise for his brilliance and non-responsibility. The leader described the virus as very smart, a brilliant enemy, and a genius. The leader's followers continued to believe the plague was a hoax created to destroy the leader. even though many were obese and at grave risk. Eventually, a vaccine was developed, but in the zip codes, everyone stopped wanting to go outside. They all continued gaming and sleeping for many years and were mummified in place. The animals and plants reclaimed the earth. Today, animals visit the human museum and pay what they wish.
Wow, Coalfather Industries. I like that. Brilliant virus. Ladies and gentlemen, the next performance is the first live performance of this evening's program. I mean, that is to say, after Jenny Romaine came out from the future and sang the song and stuff like that. This is by Roxanna Myhrum, who wanted to cook up something herself. Theoretical Ruminations on Pizza Delivery is fresh out of the oven. When Roxy's not at home slicing up paper puppets in her basement, she's serving warm helpings of joy as the artistic director of Puppet Showplace Theatre in Brookline, Massachusetts. She dedicates this piece to all essential workers and service employees without whom life would be a gooey glob of formless raw dough. Theoretical Ruminations on Pizza Delivery.
Last week, a man in an N95 mask delivered pizza to my house. Why, in the midst of a global pandemic, is pizza considered essential? Red Rose Pizzeria in Springfield, Massachusetts. My favorite family ristorante, founded by Italian immigrants. My first professional acting gig. The Cratchit family dines together at Pizzeria Uno in between matinee and evening performances of A Christmas Carol. Friday night delivery. My parents keep 3 children fed with Domino's, Little Caesars, as seen on TV. They're in 30 minutes or it's free. Pizza, pizza. Oh. Birthday parties. Chuck E. Cheese. Hugs from a mascot mouse mark the celebration of life for my friends every single year. Ah! Pizza is what Kevin McAllister orders in Home Alone. It's showing his independence. It's the first thing I order at the Holyoke Mall in the food court as a teenager. College, the artisanal masterpiece, hand-tossed, wood-fired at Pinocchio's Pizza in Harvard Square, turning dough, sauce, and cheese into knowledge. The iconic slice of pepperoni, which I never eat as a lifelong vegetarian, but always imagine like the iconic hands on a watch in a magazine ad, always pointed at 10 and 2. Cowabunga! Crisis after crisis, bad guys take over, germs come, and we come together like a team of superheroes named after Renaissance painters. And now, our puppet theater, best of Boston birthday parties, pizza and puppetry every weekend for 10 years, now closed for business until who knows when. Ding dong! A man in a mask stands at my door. He leaves the boxes on the stoop, and I reach out to give him a tip, and there we are, reaching where in America, ritual and consumption are conflated, but trying to connect in disaster, and he delivers more than he will ever know.
Wow. Thanks, Roxy, for that live performance, which we all enjoyed. An autobiographical pizza story. That was amazing. Roxy's performance is now followed by an international edition from Papiertheatre Company from France, which specializes, as you can imagine, in paper theater. The show is entitled Black and White, and the text is inspired by Roberto Piumini's Mathieu and his grandfather. The director is the great Nargues Majd, and the manipulators are Alain Lecucq, another great one, and Nargues Majd. Okay, take it away. Thank you very much.
Chérie, viens voir ton grand-père. Je ne peux pas. Si j'abandonne mon avion, il y aura un crash. Viens avec ton avion. Peut-être que plus tard, ton grand-père ne sera plus là.
Cela fait des heures qu'ils m'entourent avec leur visage triste, sans rien dire. Je veux sortir d'ici.
Où veux-tu aller?
Dehors. Je veux prendre un peu d'air.
Je viens avec toi. Qu'est-ce qu'il est beau. Il est très noir. Où va-t-il?
Je ne sais pas. Tu veux qu'on aille voir? Écoutez-moi bien. Je vous envoie 2 formulaires que vous allez remplir immédiatement et que vous me rendrez dès que je vous le dirai. Votre temps est écoulé. Rendez-moi les feuilles tout de suite.
Pourquoi est-ce qu'ils étaient aussi méchants?
Parce qu'ils ont peur de ceux qu'ils ne connaissent pas.
Oh, mais je ne veux pas être comme eux.
Alors, il ne faut jamais les oublier.
Comment est-ce que je peux ne jamais les oublier?
Quand tu veux que quelque chose te reste éternellement, tu peux le sentir. Comme ça, il restera toujours dans ta tête. Il te suffit de fermer les yeux et de respirer profondément.
Papy?
Oui.
Tu n'as pas changé de taille? Nous avons vu un cheval venir par ici et nous l'avons suivi.
Ah oui, la licorne avec les sabots dorés.
Monsieur, c'est quoi ces choses qui sortent de votre bouche?
À vrai dire, j'ai une très mauvaise habitude. Je mens sans arrêt et à chaque mensonge, une corde sort de ma bouche et m'attache.
Je peux te dire quelque chose?
Vas-y.
Je mens parfois. Qu'est-ce que je dois faire si je me trouve attachée ou bloquée?
Je pense qu'il est plus facile de ne pas mentir que d'avoir à se libérer après.
Cette fois-ci, je suis sûre, papy. Tu es devenu plus petit.
Ah bon?
Oui.
Ça peut arriver.
Regarde. Il y a un autre cheval. Un chocolat chaud, s'il vous plaît. Je peux te le préparer avec du lait de vache, du lait de brebis, du lait de chèvre, du lait de zèbre, du lait de girafe ou du lait de baleine. Du lait de girafe, s'il vous plaît. Il y a quelque temps, un beau cheval est venu ici. Quand j'ai commencé à l'étrier, il n'a pas voulu.
Au secours!
Ne vous inquiétez pas, on va vous aider.
Tu peux pas m'aider, petit. Tu vas tomber dans le puits et je te préviens qu'il n'y a pas assez de place pour deux ici. Il s'est dressé sur ses pattes de derrière. En faisant cela, il a renversé mon blé et il est parti au grand galop en me laissant seul avec toute ma récolte. Comme d'habitude, ma mauvaise chance m'a conduit vers le malheur.
Au feu! Au feu! Au feu!
Vous êtes des porte-malheurs. J'étais heureux avant que vous veniez ici.
Mais il a sans arrêt des problèmes.
Oui, mais il préfère penser que c'est la faute des autres et continuer à ne pas réfléchir.
Papy, le cheval blanc, il est très proche de nous. Cache-toi. Regarde, il est noir de l'autre côté. C'est le même.
Il nous aime bien. Il veut qu'on monte sur son dos.
Mais tu es devenu trop petit, papy. Tu vas tomber.
Alors mets-moi dans ta poche, comme ça je ne tomberai pas.
Tu es en train de disparaître. Qu'est-ce que je dois faire?
Bah, il faut que tu me gardes dans ta tête.
Alors, il faut que je te sente?
Bah oui.
Wow. Now that was super awesome. Black or White by Papiertheatre, Nargues, Majd, and Alain Lecucq. I'm going to have to read Roberto Piumini's Mathieu and his grandfather. The next performance is by Enormous Face, Kalan Sherrard from New York City. This is a little speculative labyrinth of screams from Enormous Face, who is trying to find ways to do puppet shows online. I guess like this example, performing live sets this week on Instagram and Facebook. Enormous Face. Wow, that was a sudden ending to that. I was following along completely, overwhelmed in that sort of Dadaist kind of way by Enormous Face's performance. And he's going to be doing more things on Instagram and Facebook this week. The next performance is also live, all the way from the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont. It's called Vanishing Objective Theater Company. That's the name of the company. It sounds like I just made that up. And the name of the show is Volcanoes. Volcanoes. Volcanoes.
Most of the volcanoes in the world are composite or stratovolcanoes. Stratovolcanoes are formed by lava cinders and ashes from an eruption. During an eruption, ashes and cinders fall to the ground. The eruption quiets down and lava slowly flows out, covering the layer of ashes and cinders. Further eruptions add more layers of ashes and cinders, followed by more layers of lava. They are still active, though they have not erupted for many years. The fourth kind of volcano is a dome volcano. The pressure builds up. The volcano blows its top, like St. Helens did. There are many very old volcanoes that no longer erupt. These dead volcanoes are called extinct. After a volcano erupts, everything is buried under lava or ashes. Plants and animals are nowhere to be found. But in a few short months, life renews itself. Insects and other animals return. Volcanoes do not just destroy. They bring new mountains, new islands, and new soil to the land. Many good things can come from the fiery explosions of volcanoes.
Volcanoes. I found that strangely calming. I love the last part too. Well, that was from Northern Vermont, and it was live. Our friends from Northern Vermont making toy theater in their spare time. Our next performance comes from Seattle, Washington. It is by Sue Truman, a toy theater professional in a way, supporter. These are 3 short videos, 3, count them 3, from the Cranking in Place series. She's also doing a lot of crankies from her Cranky Factory website. Check out her Cranky Factory website if you're interested in crankies. Sue Truman, Cranking in Place. Uh-oh. Oh, sorry. I got fascinated by that last video. I love that. There's a third one coming up by Sue Truman. It is sung in Scottish Gaelic by Sue's fellow mask maker, Stacey Gearman. And it is called Nuair a Reinig Mimbaile. But I don't speak Gaelic, so I didn't pronounce that right. That means when I got to the village. And the translation of the lyrics goes thusly. When I got to the village, there was no merriment or music there. The women were sewing and the maidens were sorrowful. Awesome, I say. Awesome. Really nice masks. I'd like one of those masks for myself if I had a chance. Thank you, Sue Truman. The next performance is by 13 Pratt Theater Company from Boston, Massachusetts, which is right nearby where I am. The 13 Pratt Theater Company is a group of roommates who, after 7 weeks, must be getting to know each other really well. Rainier Pearl Stiles, Nick Chieffo, and Riley Fox Hillyer, panicking about the current situation and making cheap art to soothe and comfort the existential dread, which we all feel from time to time. Their other interests include, but are not limited to, baking, sleeping, playing foursquare, and homemade limoncello. Their other productions, they're being very productive during the quarantine, include A Midsummer Night's Sock and Anthony Toot Toot. This is the 13 Pratt Theater Company's Quarantine Kitchen, the Musical.
How can I do this for 18 months? I can't stop fidgeting. I can't stop fidgeting. How can I do this for 18 months?
I'm gonna go crazy.
I really will.
All right. Is everybody ready on set? Yep, ready, thanks. Great. We will be rolling in 5,
I really don't want to do that.
4, 3, 2.
It's time to cook at 13 Pratt.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode of It's Time to Cook at 13 Pratt, the only cooking show that takes place in a living room with a hot plate. Because we're still a few weeks into the quarantine, we're not able to get anybody in, but we have a very special and reoccurring guest, my friend and roommate, Rainier.
I told you I didn't want to do this
Rainier,
again.
how you doing today?
I'm fine, I swear I'm holding up. I'm calm, I swear I'm doing okay. I'm fine.
Fine?
That's great. Today on the show, we're going to be making a very simple recipe. Symptom. It's not a symptom. It's not momentum. It's not a symptom. It's not a symptom. It's not a symptom. It's not momentum. It's not a symptom. COVID-19 is setting the scene. COVID-19 is making me green. Bless you.
Thanks. It's allergy season.
So today we're going to be making a flambe sock. Rainier, where did you get this recipe?
My Nana taught it to me.
That's right. It's a super easy, super simple recipe. Just gotta take a sock of yours, throw it over medium heat, hit it with some rum. It's gonna caramelize those threads nice and crispy. So you only need 2 tablespoons. Go ahead and splash that right on there. Oh, what are you doing? That was all of it.
That was all of it?
Yes, you were. No!
We only had rum for 2 weeks, but then we ran out of it. What do we do? We only had rum for 2 weeks, but then we ran out of it. What do we do?
Wow. I would love to rush over right now to 13 Pratt Theater Company and see what else the heck they're doing there. They seem to have found a variety of creative ways of dealing with a very challenging situation, which I like. Plus the cheap art poster on the wall of the living room. Amazing. And now we go to Pine, Colorado, and Penny Benson. Our friend Penny Benson recently located from New England to the mountains of Colorado, where the view is spectacular and the internet is sporadic. Her puppetry work preceded her arrival in Colorado in national tours, and she hopes to populate more Colorado stages with puppets when the theaters reopen. Also a registered nurse, Penny is spending her time at home, getting her Colorado nursing license, go Penny, setting up her home studio, and training her puppy. You can see examples of Penny's puppetry work at pennybenson.com. Okay, Penny, take it away. That's great. Here we go.
Introducing the virus that really needs no introduction, SARS-CoV-2. Oh, we know this virus is up to no good.
We have it totally under control. It's one person.
And we all know that washing our hands and social distancing are the best way to beat this nasty little pathogen.
Looks like it's bath time! I'll be back!
But here are some helpful things you may not have heard. Health professionals use special techniques to protect patients from exposure to microorganisms.
Doctor? Doctor? Doctor?
Doctor?
Doctor?
Doctor? Sterile or aseptic technique involves meticulous hand washing, surgical face masks, use of sterile gloves, sterile instruments, and a sterile field. Not that kind of field. In the Middle Ages, it was considered sinful to cut open a human body, so surgeons, who were often barbers, worked in secret.
Scalpel.
Scalpel.
Retractor.
Retractor.
Leeches.
Leeches. But about a century ago, surgeons began performing surgeries for an audience in theaters where huge crowds would gather to watch.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
That's where the term operating theater came from. People don't watch surgeries anymore. Ew! So now we call them operating rooms or suites, especially if they offer deluxe 5-star service.
Coffee? Tea? Cookie?
Hey! Don't touch me!
Go!
We have very little problem in this country at this moment, 5, and those people are all recuperating successfully. But we're working very closely with China and other countries, and we think it's going to have a very good ending for us. So that I can assure you.
Who put you on the planet?
How can that possibly help us?
Wow, part 2, I can hardly wait. Some nice puppets there, Penny. I really like them. I gotta take a break for a while, so I wanted to call in my friend, MC Mr. Mustache.
It's not really my name, but I'll step in here. I wanted to show you this presentation, this thought, this feeling that we came up with. It's nothing just paper, and still it is the whole world. Kind of brings it all together. Now, we'd like to have a word from Great Small Works, Stephen Kaplin. Stephen Kaplin.
Hey, nice to see you all, the toy theater aficionados of the universe. Back here, I came back after Chinese Theater Works Toy Theater of the Carved Eraser. Thank you, Kuang-Yu. Thank you, Bernice. Thank you, Berto, Lucy, and thanks, of course, to all my Great Small Works colleagues and all those folks out there. I came here, though, specifically not to talk about two-dimensionality, which I am, but to talk about a future event in Great Small Works performing history, our next spaghetti dinner, which we will be presenting in partnership with Fihai Ma Fihai, our special production, Jews, Muslims, Bears, Oh My. It's going to be a digital Ramadan, real classic communal fashion, digital toy theater, spaghetti dinner event on May 21st. So please mark that on your calendar. We hope you can be there for that. And now I will pass the digital baton to Mark Sussman. Yay!
Good evening. I hope you're enjoying this festival as much as I am. What a beautiful way to spend the last evening in April. In quarantine, in your car, on your phone, wherever you happen to be. I am here to remind you that many of the great small workers are working feverishly behind the screens to bring this festival to you. And if you feel so inclined, and if you're able, of course, we'd like to invite you to drop a few bucks in the virtual hat. Now, how would you do that? By going here, greatsmallworks.org/donate. That's greatsmallworks.org/donate. Got it? Okay. Thank you. And now I'm very happy to announce the next act. Alex and Olmsted, an internationally acclaimed puppet theater from Tacoma Park, Maryland. This past season, they performed at the Festival of Wonder in Denmark, the Center for Puppetry Arts in Atlanta, and the Ballard Institute and Museum in Connecticut. They are honored to be part of the Great Small Works Festival, and they are proud to present the world premiere of their new piece, Morning Call. Alex and Olmsted.
Mom! Come on, I'm hungry.
Well, well, well.
Oh, well, well.
Mark, Sussman, I think you have to take away your image. Perhaps. Ah, there we go. I'll never look at pea soup in the same way, I don't think. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a big pleasure for us, collectively speaking, to bring you work again from across the Atlantic Ocean, this time in Wipperfürth, Germany. Peter Schauerte-luke, one of the master toy theater makers and performers of all of Deutschland, from the Burgtheater in Fachwerkhaus, which I believe is oh no, it's not a big castle, from Wipperfürth, which is a small town in the Bergisches Land, which is east of Cologne, if you know what I mean. So here we have, ladies and gentlemen, a toy theater production from Peter Schauerte-luke.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. On flight 112244 of Bubble Trump Airlines from Chicago to Düsseldorf-Lohausen, my name is Dieter Flughorn, and I welcome you from my home office nearby Düsseldorf, together with my first officer Heinz Müller and our chief stewardess Marita Nagelschön in quarantine at a wellness hotel in Palma de Mallorca. Your flight time is expected to be 8 hours, 21 minutes and 12 seconds. You have just taken off and the weather here in Rhineland is pleasant. The weather in Chicago was swelteringly hot and rarest thunderstorms can be expected. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately the airline had to reduce the crew. Meals, a candy bar and a Tetra Pak of orange juice can be found in the hamster seat pockets in front of you, as well as 30 sheets of toilet paper with cheerful picture stories for accompanying children. We point out that this flight is a no-smoking flight and wish you a virus-free journey. 6 hours, 24 minutes and 2 seconds later. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain speaking. The state government has closed Düsseldorf-Lohausen Airport. The airspace of the surrounding airports are very heavily loaded. I'm now taking a walk with my German Shepherd, Waldemar, and I hope to have received good news for you afterwards. 2 hours later. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain speaking. The flight control center pushed our flight south. The airports of Switzerland, Austria and France are closed. Since the fuel is only enough for 10 minutes, you will now land in Milan. Face masks are not available. We must ask you to punch 2 viewing holes in the vomit bags under your seat and pull them over your head for your safety. 8 minutes and 20 seconds later. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain speaking. Welcome to Milan. The weather, drizzle, 22 degrees. Public life and all means of transport have come to a standstill. We recommend that travelers continue on the old pilgrimage route across the Alps. The possibility of high passes can be found in the daily press. Captain Flughorn and his crew wish you a good stay and hope to see you again on board of one aircraft from Trouble Bubble Trump Airlines.
Oh, hi, I didn't quite understand that one, but I liked it just the same. My name is Emily Dickinson. I came east from Amherst because I heard that Laurie McCants is doing a show called Emily Dickinson Hitches a Ride to Her Blue Peninsula, and I had to see it. Laurie McCants.
Emily Dickinson hitches a ride to her blue peninsula. Poem by Emily Dickinson. Paintings by Robert McCormick. Music by Sergei Prokofiev. Pianist Florian Noack. Scenography by Laurie McCants. It might be lonelier without the loneliness. I'm so accustomed to my fate. Perhaps the other peace would interrupt the dark and crowd the little room too scant by cubits to contain the sacrament of him. I am not used to hope. It might intrude upon. Its sweet parade blasphemed the place ordained to suffering. It might be easier to fail. With land in sight, then gain my blue peninsula to perish of delight.
Well, well, well. I love that interpretation of Emily Dickinson by Laurie McCants. The next performance is a live performance, a live performance, a live performance. 4 illustrations of how a new idea strikes a person who is not prepared for it. A tribute to Daniil Harms, the great Russian artist, by Elliot Cardinaux from Western Massachusetts and Katya Popova from Somerville. Now, Daniil Harms, born in 1905, died in 1942, was a Russian avant-garde poet, writer, and dramatist whose humor and absurdist experimental prose inspired Elliot and Katya to bring life to one of his short stories. Here it comes.
Number 1, The Writer.
I am the writer. The reader.
And in my opinion, you're a piece of shit. The writer stands for several minutes, shocked by this new idea, and falls dead. He is carried out. Number 2, The Artist.
worker.
And in my opinion, you're a piece of shit. The artist turns pale like a canvas, sways like a reed, and suddenly dies. They carry him out. Number 3, the composer.
I am the composer, Roberto.
And in my opinion, you're a piece of shit. The composer, breathing heavily, slumps down. He is carried out immediately. Number 4, the chemist.
I am the chemist, physicist.
And in my opinion, you're a piece of shit. The chemist, without another word, collapses heavily onto the floor.
Well, where are you going to see a toy theater show based on the work of Daniel Harms? I ask you. Right here, probably. Continuing with the work of Massachusetts artists, we now turn to Eliana Stinky. They are an emerging puppet artist trying to make sense of all of this, as all we all are. Please enjoy this puppeteered essay about how the way we talk about nature reflects the way we talk about one another. Now, Eliana thinks about animals.
It started with this. My cat saved my life. Reached me at the start of my 23rd year, mid-cancer treatment, and by learning to love me after all his pain, showed me to continue clawing through each day as well. No, wait. It started with this. Watching humans marvel at orangutans in cement homes behind glass for 2 hours. In my school essay, I wrote about how we search for ourselves in everything without treating those things as equal to ourselves. No, actually, I'm sorry. It started with this. Learning that in my grandmother's world, animals were for work, that to love a non-human is to leave a human behind. And then a pandemic happened, and my thoughts keep returning to the animals. Perhaps the articles people shared on Facebook led me back to them. My timeline waxed poetic about how dolphins and swans returned to the Venetian canals, and elephants wandered through Chinese villages getting drunk off vineyard growth. We are the virus, so many shouted. When we disappear, the animals return to claim their reparations. But those stories turned out to be fake. They made readers feel warm enough to share without examining, to write ourselves out of the earth as if we are not of it. There were real stories too, but they didn't fit the Earth is healing narrative so cleanly. In Thailand, there was the largest documented fight between two monkey gangs who tore each other apart over 1 cup of yogurt, with hundreds of monkeys on their teams, hungry without tourists feeding them their scraps. Many more animals like deer, raccoons, goats, and coyotes have been entering cities around the world searching for food without humans to serve or deter them. They've always been here with us, but many of us could only see them when everyone else stepped away. Destroying our world and its resources is very likely what has made us sick. Our destruction of habitats creating conditions for this to occur. Our transport and sale of wildlife transmitted the disease. We treat so many people the same way, obscured from our vision and care until we are forced to take notice. Extraction and dehumanization drive the profit cycle. What interests me is when we humanize and when we dehumanize. When we perceive a creature as our counterpart versus when we reduce their status to less than us. Animals depend on us the way we depend on each other. We aren't the virus. We are living, and we need each other.
Eliana thinks about animals, and she's doing some mighty fine thinking there. Maybe we've all been thinking about animals. We have rabbits in our backyard, but they've been there for a while anyway. Our next performance is from, again across the ocean, in Wendland, Germany, Gisa Naumann-Namba and Papiertheatre Chaya. Excuse me. Papiertheatre Chaya is located in North Germany, not too far away from Pratt, where every year the traditional toy theater festival, the Pratt's Papiertheatre Treffen, happens. Gisa says Chaya to Chaya is Japanese and it means little tea house. Since I lived 14 years in Japan, and the tea house, you meet people, drink tea, and listen to stories about what happens in the world. My tea house here, I guess she means in Wendland, is open to everybody. Since time was short, I just prepared a little poem from Germany's most famous children's author, James Krullis. A little story of unrequited love. Please enjoy it, Gisa says. Thank you very much.
The garden of Mr. Ming. In the little quiet garden of the old gardener Ming, there is swimming in a pond a water rose sink. The old man in China delighted her immensely. He calls her Katharina, Chinese Katharine. With harem pants and very much in love, he goes to his rose at the edge of the pond. He sings a song and fans, cooling the rose. But the rose smiles only for the goldfish Wu. She loves the golden fish that often passeth by, and on the leaf table enjoys the scent of roses. But Wu, the goldfish boy, the light-hearted, gives her neither greeting nor gift, because he loves a chicken. He loves Chouchou, the little golden red chicken thing. But Chouchou, the fine, only loves the gardener Ming. So Mr. Ming loves Katrina, Katrina loves the Wu, Wu loves Chouchou from China, the gardener is loved by Chouchou. They all love gently and quietly, but nobody loves back, and nobody in the circle has luck in their love. They live and they wait, are sad and in love in this little garden of which there are a lot. James Chris. Many greetings from Germany. I hope everybody stays well and healthy, and please enjoy the Toy Theatre Festival.
I would love to see that show again. It went by a little too fast for me, and my Deutsch is not so good. But moving on to our next show, it's from Antigonish County in Nova Scotia, by Laura Stinson and Ian McFarlane, who we happen to know from their work with Bread and Puppet Theatre. Now, as an offering to those in Nova Scotia who have lost loved ones in the recent mass shootings, Laura and Ian present Gathering.
We gather to
hold
the weaves of the basket,
as the weaves of the basket fold, as the leaves carry daylight.
Bows to the nest,
bows
and
rocks
to the nest,
and rocks to the flow.
Who are we without these hands? Without these hands.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Laura, for your work gathering. We now go all the way across the continent of North America to Portland, Oregon, where Laura Height will present a special mini Matchbox show, COVID-19 Special Edition 2020.
The Matchbox shows. Quarantine edition. Portland Peep Show. And grocery delivery. Ooh la la. Ooh la la. I thought we could all use a little magic right now. So I'm going to invite out my friend Donna. Hi, I'm Donna, and I'm a magician, and I'm going to do some magic tricks for you. First, I need to bring out my magic banana. Yeah, that's my magic banana. Okay. All right. For this first trick, I'm going to make this banana disappear, but I'm going to need your help. Bring out my little magic cloth. And I need you all to count to 3. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Poof. Oh, crap. It's Donald Trump. Ah, geez. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, you're going to have to try a little harder out there. All right, let's do this again. We're going to do it again. All right, focus this time. I really need you to help me out here. Okay, so back with the magic cloth. And yep, I'm going to count again. You need your help. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Roar, roar, roar. Oh yeah, it's a lion. It's a tiger eating Donald Trump's head. Yeah, I did it. Roar, 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 roar. Thank you, Donna, and her magic banana. All right, now we bring out a classic Matchbox show. Just for you. I don't always love to do this one. 27 pictures of myself naked during quarantine. Okay, I'm gonna have a little drink there. Okay, all right, here we go. You ready, buddy? All right, running. Oh, can't do that. All right. Having a drink at the bar, can't do that. Oh, watering the garden, doing that a whole lot. Okay. So on the pommel horse, by myself, nobody's nearby, not even 6 feet away. Okay. Talking on the old-fashioned phone. Okay. This is a little yoga, a little fantasy of mine. Fighting a tiger, welding. Another fantasy of mine, voting by mail. You should all write your congressperson. We do it in Oregon. It's great. Riding a bike. The inevitable nipples on fire. Working. Taking a bath. Homeschooling Shorty. Sewing masks. Halloween costume, doing a puppet show, teaching on Zoom, in my pajamas, sometimes all day, dinner with my parents on Zoom, pooping, and doing a toy theater festival online. Thank you very much. Thank you to Leo, my assistant, Chris, my camera person.
Wow. About all I can say is wow. And more wow. Thank you, Laura, and your assistance from your family situation in Portland. Remarkable Matchbox show series. Now we're going back to the East Coast, back to Massachusetts, in fact, and Mitchell K. Ahern and the Rolling Scroll Theater from Lynn performing the first paragraph of Jack Kerouac's On the Road 1951 and 1957 versions. Mitchell K. Ahern.
This is the Rolling Scroll Theater. We're reading the first paragraph of Jack Kerouac's On the Road. This is the 1957 novelized version, but we'll be reading from the 1951 typewritten on a scroll autobiographical version. I first met Neil not long after my father died. I had just gotten over a serious illness that I won't bother to talk about, except that it really had something to do with my father's death and the feeling that everything was dead. With the coming of Neil, there really began for me that part of my life you could call my life on the road. I'd always dreamed of going west, seeing the country, always planning and never specifically taking off. Neil is the perfect guy for the road because he was actually born on the road. When his parents were passing through Salt Lake City in 1926 in a jalopy on their way to Los Angeles. First reports of Neil came to me through Hal Chase, who'd shown me a few letters from him written in the Colorado Reform School. I was tremendously interested in these letters because they so naively and sweetly asked for Hal to teach him all about Nietzsche and all about the wonderful intellectual things that Hal was so justly famous for. At one point, Allen Ginsberg and I talked about these letters and wondered if we would ever meet the strange Neil Cassidy. This is all far back, when Neil is not the way he is today, when he was a young jail kid shrouded in mystery. Then news came that Neil was out of reform school and was coming to New York for the first time. Also, where there was talk that he had just married a 16-year-old girl called Luann.
Wow. I could have followed that a little bit more too. I love the juxtaposition of the 51 and 57 versions. My goodness, thank you, Mitchell. Ladies and gentlemen, we have one more performance for the evening, but I want to remind you that there'll be a fourth installment of our International Toy Theater Festival on Saturday night. Come see that. Our last performance comes from Toronto, Ontario, and it is by our good friend Annie Katsura Rollins. She is in quarantine with her husband and toddler in Toronto, as I mentioned. At the start of the stay-at-home order, she realized she had no skills with which to weather a prolonged distancing from the rest of the world, but she is still managing, just like the rest of us. Annie Katsura Rollins.
So many things I overlooked, so many things I've ignored, so many things I overbooked, so many things I implored. But now, with all this time to ourselves, just me, my toddler, my husband, and well, that's it. I am feeling oh so lonely for all of you, so lonely for you and you and you and you and you. So many things I crammed in, so many things I accrued, so many things I hustled for, so many things I sped through. But now, with all this time to myself, just within the four walls of my home, and well, that's it. I am feeling only so lonely for all of you. Not all that other stuff, just so lonely for you and you and you and you. Can't wait to see all of you again soon.
Well. That was a fitting end to tonight's Isolating Together International Toy Theater Festival online. We hope you'll come back on Saturday, same time, same place, right here, for another installation of more COVID-19 era toy theater shows for your delectation. And now we'd like to bring back the entire cast to take a bow, and so you can see who these wonderful artists are. So thank you for watching our festival. Make your own toy theaters. And I think I'll be stepping out of the way, Lindsay Wagner, producing this whole thing. Is that what I should do? Just step away?
Thank you. And you, and you, and you. Ooh, Colorado, hooray!
Yay!
Voices!
Yay, Josh, yay, Tori. Yay, Nova Scotia. Yay, Manhattan. Hooray, 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 hooray. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Come back again. Thank you. Thank you.